pilot of Sherlock is a version of the first episode where Mycroft isn't shoe.
Yeah.
And we're back. I know it's been a while since we actually done an episode. Yeah. Are we gonna address like the background change? No, I don't think so. It's just dealing with like the comment about the Foster imaginary friends. Yeah. Never seen it, but I heard it was a really good show.
Obvious.
Did you really? No. Just want to throw it in. But speaking of which, I know we were supposed to get directly into
Sherlock.
I really want to start watching the video and get angry again because I know he's going to say something.
He's an arrogant sod.
But in a way, I do understand why he's coming from the angle that he is. One thing I did want to bring up is with Sherlock, the original, of course, with the books, every single episode can be taken completely out of context. You can watch one episode and then watch another episode and you're not missing much. But the audience already knows who the characters are prior to this. I know I mentioned this before, but I think I had a comment who completely missed out on all of that. But
Please try again.
let's get into the episode.
No, thanks, no.
Alright.
Important grand plan undermines the investment in the actual stories. A Scandal in Bohemia wasn't going to be made any better by being part of some long-running intellectual magic mind battle between Sherlock and a gay supervillain. So Arthur Conan Doyle didn't bother, and instead focused on telling one of the most popular and compelling mystery stories in the entire Western fucking canon. Moffat, however, seemed to have other plans. The worst part is that at some point Moffat understood this. The unaired pilot of Sherlock is a version of the first episode where Mycroft isn't shoehorned in, and the villain doesn't turn out to be funded and informed by a Moriarty who already knows about Sherlock.
Okay, so in a way that this does make sense. The only thing I would actually say about this, again, if by chance you section off the episodes and everyone already knew about the series prior to this actually being made, then what you're saying is 100% correct. But because you're making an episodic series, Sherlock is being introduced to characters, it wouldn't make sense for you to introduce his brother later on in the series without introducing him to Watson, which you can do right now, and build upon that throughout the series. Jeez.
The resulting story is much stronger because you get the entire episode dedicated to setting up Sherlock and Watson's dynamic far better than you can when you're too busy with everything else, and the actual crime they're solving isn't undercut by already being all about Moriarty and whatever the hell he's up to. It gives the motivation.
Alright, I don't understand why you're so against Moriarty being in this episode. Perspective of the episode compared to the entire series. Most of the series is just introducing the characters. Other than the cabbie, which again, you can technically say that's a Moriarty thing, but I don't know where he's going with this, but I guess I'll watch the rest of it.
And intentions of the episode's villain more of a weight. In the pilot, Sherlock fucking around trying to be clever gets him captured by the cab driver, who figures out that he's been found out and drugs him. You even get a cool exchange setting up Sherlock's previous drug problems.
Do a lot of drugs, Sherlock Holmes?
Not in a while.
Hi.
Alright, so I had to go back and check, make sure I was right on this. I did go back and actually watch the uncut version, which he's showing right here. Sherlock ends up getting poisoned or drugged and then taken to the location. But again, it makes more sense if by chance he stays in the vehicle because he wants to figure out what happened and who the guy is. It makes less sense if he's actually being drugged and taken to that location. Why would he end up just staying there? It's Sherlock. It's what Sherlock does.
You force them to take out maybe 10-15%. It forces them to reassess the importance of what's on the screen and remove indulgences that don't really add anything. For example, this section in the script begins with like a 10-minute ramble about the importance of the original stories, but then I decided to rewrite that bit to be a tenth of the length, and that turned out to be way better. The pilot seems to demonstrate this happening in reverse, where the full show was given an extra half an hour, so they thought, oh great, that gives us time to insert the co-writer of the show's character early and have intrigue that doesn't go anywhere because he turns out to be like just a normal guy who's worried about his brother, and also connect a nice and simple first story to Moriarty for no reason. I'll here restate my previous point that Moffat is a decent writer who would be best utilized in one-off episodes with strong direction and oversight by others, and not directly in charge of running an entire show based on one of the most well-known properties in British history, like in Doctor Who or in Jekyll. Oh, you thought I'd forgotten about Jekyll, didn't you, Steve? Well, I can't blame you. Most people have. Jekyll is an adaptation of
Alright, so I'm just going to assume that at some point that The Stephen Moffat guy ruined a ton of other shows that he liked. Never seen Jekyll, so can't say much on that. Doctor Who, I don't know. It's one of those shows that I kind of want to watch, but I just never watched it. Yeah, it's kind of like... Yeah, I can't think of any other shows either. But again, I understand how you feel in this aspect, but I can't really use this in comparison to Sherlock, so I'm just going to skip ahead and jump back into Sherlock. Yeah.
Made it all about the Doctor. In much the same way, the Sherlock Holmes stories are about solving crimes and fun mysteries and figuring things out using deductive reasoning. Moffat made his show all about Sherlock.
Okay, so back in episode 1, this is what I meant by he's just saying things to say things, because that doesn't make any sense. So you're saying that the show was about solving mysteries. The person who's solving mysteries is Sherlock Holmes. It's not Watson solving the mysteries. It's not Moriarty. It's not about any other characters solving the mysteries but Sherlock Holmes. So why would you not focus on the main character, the one who solves the mysteries? Nothing about that sentence makes sense. Who's solving the mysteries if it's not Sherlock Holmes? Who are you going to focus on if it's not Sherlock Holmes? What's the name of the actual show? Sherlock Holmes. Why would it make sense for anyone else?
I have to go.
Do you know any funny stories about John?
They could have just made him rude and thoughtless over the course of the plot of the actual fucking episode. The punchline of these jokes is supposed to set up something regarding the principal characters, but they do it so poorly and in such a roundabout way that they're neither funny nor really tell us anything new. We should already know Sherlock is a big inconsiderate piece of shit because Moffat has been writing him as one for 3 seasons at this point. This kind of overindulgent nonsense is antithetical.
Okay, how about this? Because I kind of see where he's coming from on this, but think of it like this. If by chance you're watching House, you understand House is going to solve mysteries. You understand he's going to have confrontation with his crew and have different confrontations with the different people that he forms with as patients, right? But Gregory House is a horrible person. He's a snide, sadistical, horrible person, just as himself, because he thinks he's always right. Everything he says has to be the greatest thing that anyone's ever heard. Sherlock Holmes is a perfect example of this. He says things just because he can and because he knows he's smarter than everyone else. That's just his character. People who like Sherlock, they like this about him. So when it's like watching little quips that characters do amongst each other. If by chance you see any show, if a character has something that makes them really charismatic, it's either they're really annoying or they're a really nice person, or they have something that makes them come back. Sherlock is the exact same way. He's not going to start off a case at the beginning of an episode with just solving a case or starting off of a case or looking into a case. That doesn't make any sense. You have to build into getting to that point. I want to find at least one point where we agree with each other. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but I guess it's always next episode. I doubt it. Yeah, I do too.
In the actual stories. A Scandal in Bohemia wasn't going to be made any better by being part of